Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and I've had 100% battery health on my iPhone 13 Pro Max for almost an entire year. This has been my main phone, and since I created the first 100% battery health video, or one of the first over 5 years ago, a lot has changed. And so I thought I'd talk about what I do to maintain my battery health, what you can do, and it's been 318 days from the time it dropped from 100% down to 99%. So you cannot keep this at 100% for the entire life of the phone, as all batteries degrade, whether or not it's in a car such as a Tesla or in an iPhone. It's impossible to maintain 100% battery health for the entire life of the device. So I thought we'd talk about what it's like as far as how I maintain it. Now, the first thing is, many people say, well, you have 100% battery life because you have a bunch of phones. And yes, I do have a bunch of different phones that I review, but they're not my main phone. My main phone is my 13 Pro Max. I might have used the 13 Pro or a couple other phones for a couple weeks total, but the entire time I've used the 13 Pro Max as my main phone, other than maybe a couple weeks. Usually I'll just carry two phones with me. And so what we have here are three different phones. I have my 13 Pro Max, my iPhone 6s Plus, and an iPhone 11. Now I used the iPhone 6s Plus for about an entire year, and then I've just used it in other videos. If we go into settings and we go to battery, on this one, because I've used it for so long and the battery is aging, we're at 85% battery health. If we go into the iPhone 11, we'll have a different battery health number. Now, I did not use the 11 as my main phone for a year. So if we go into battery health, we're still up near 100 at 98%. So again, it's going to vary depending on your device and what your cycle count is. The cycle count is how many times the battery is charged and discharged to 100% and then back down to 0, or any combination in between. Apple says that iPhone batteries are designed to retain up to 80% of their capacity after 500 cycles. So maybe one day you charge it to 100%, and then at the end of the day you plug it in, you're at 50, charge it back up to 100, drain it back down to 50. Those two charges actually add up to 100%, so now we have a full cycle. So one day you could charge it 80%, the next day 20%, again, that's one cycle. Any combination of 100%. And like I said, batteries degrading over time is completely normal. So to see your cycle count, you can actually see this on an app. There's some ways to do it pulling it out of the settings, but the easiest way is through an app. So let's see what my battery cycles are at. We'll plug it in and take a look. And as you can see on the left here with Coconut Battery, it's a free app for the Mac. I've shown it many times. It shows the overall design capacity. We're at 99.6%, so 99%, and we've had a total cycle count of 203. So it's cycled up to 100% and down, a combination of any of those 203 times. And then it's giving us the temperature and more. So again, Apple says it should maintain 80% after 500 cycles. Mine seems to be doing a little bit better. And so let's talk about how I charge. So we'll unplug that, and despite what many people might say, wireless charging is just fine. I typically use a MagSafe charger, and I put it on the charger at night when I go to bed, or when I'm in my car, I'll put it on the wireless charger in my car. So I have a Tesla, it has a built-in 7.5 watt charger. I just set it on that, but most of the time it's on a MagSafe compatible charger. So I'll stick it on my nightstand on a MagSafe connector, and there's some advantages to MagSafe overall because it has temperature sensors that help regulate the overall temperature of the phone. So it can fast charge up to 15 watts, and then it can bring it back down as needed, or even pause it if the phone gets too hot. So a couple things to keep in mind is I use wireless charging, but I don't use a case on the phone, which typically keeps it a little bit cooler. Now, one thing is I never take a look at my battery as far as the overall charge. Typically, I'll just leave it on the charger, wake up in the morning, and take it off the charger. One thing I do, though, is I don't typically let it drop below 10% regularly. I don't pay much attention to it. It just seems to be more of a habit, but I normally leave it 100%. Maybe it'll get down to 40 at the end of the night. Then I'll plug it in, put it on the charger, MagSafe as always, Now, typically the other end of a charger, I'll have an Anker charger. They're an official channel partner, but they're not sponsoring this video. But I usually use an Anker charger, whether it be this one where there's two outlets where we have one plugged into MagSafe, the other plugged into an Apple Watch, or maybe any combination of those. So I'll link these in the description. And then sometimes if I just don't have one of these handy and I need to charge it up, I'll even use a MagSafe charger with this MacBook adapter, or I'll just plug it in directly. But it's very rare that I don't use wireless charging. So I know that's counterintuitive to some, but I never manage the battery. I also leave optimized battery charging turned on. So this will actually learn the pattern of when you put it on the charger at night, when you take it off based on the time. It will bump it up to 80%, hold it there, and then once it gets closer to the time you wake up normally, maybe 9 a.m., 8 a.m., it will actually make sure it's 100% charged by that time. So you can actually see this in how it charged and then pauses. So it charges up to 80%, pauses for a while, then charges up until it's ready at 9 a.m. this morning. So that kind of shows you what's going on. It manages it for you. Now, typically when I'm using my phone, I don't have a case on it. That helps it dissipate heat, which again is an advantage to the battery. Apple says use iOS and iPadOS devices where the ambient temperature is between 0 and 35 degrees Celsius or 32 to 95 degrees Fahrenheit. Lower high temperature conditions might cause your device to change its behavior to regulate its temperature. The iPhone regulates its temperature by itself. It will even give you a warning sometimes if the temperature is too high to let it cool down for a bit. That happens usually in very bright sunlight when it's very hot outside. They've also said that using an iOS or iPadOS device in very hot conditions can permanently shorten battery life. So if you're in an environment that's very, very hot all the time and you have it in a case, that's going to actually decrease its battery health more quickly than if you're in ambient temperatures like I am of about 70 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Because of that, it's generally cool, the phone is cool to the touch, and it's not an issue. However, another reason I say not to worry about it is you can just change the battery when it's time. Apple actually offers the service in the store, and it's $50 for everything with the exception of the iPhone 11 and newer. The iPhone SE is also $50. So for all of the other phones, it's $69 at most. So $49 to $69 depending on the phone from iPhone 5 to 13 Pro Max. So really it's not that big of an expense where I would say wasting your time to actually try and manage it. Some people say you need to keep your phone between 80 and 40% and don't let it go above or below that. I say don't worry about it. It's not worth your time, and you may save 3% over the period of a year as far as overall battery health. If you're lucky. Most people I see trying to manage their battery actually have less battery health than I do. So normally that's what I'm seeing. Typically I tell people put it on the charger, take it off in the morning. If you're in the car, plug it in, maybe put it on a charger, use Apple CarPlay, enjoy your phone, and let Apple manage it. They've designed the phone to manage itself. So the point of this video is to help you ignore your battery and just stop worrying about it. That's typically what I tell people. There are much more important things to worry about in life. I would just ignore it. And if you need to replace a battery, you can do it yourself, but Apple offers it in the store and in service centers. The iPhone was designed to operate on its own and be a tool to help and serve you, not you having to manage it. So just keep that in mind and let me know how it's going for you in the comments below. And of course, I'll link all of these wallpapers in the description like I normally do. If you haven't subscribed already though, please subscribe. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.